Let's start with this bombshell. You're not seeing the world as it is. You're seeing what your brain thinks it is. Sounds dramatic, right? But here's the deal. Your eyes take in a chaotic mess of light and shadow. That's it. No meaning. No context. Just photons yeeting themselves into your eyeballs. Then your brain shows up like a bad editor and starts filling in the gaps, sometimes with stuff that isn't even there. That's why you can read a sentence with the letters scrambled and still understand it. Or why you think you saw your ex across the street when it was actually just a coat rack and your unresolved trauma. Even weirder. There's a literal blind spot in each of your eyes, a place where no light data gets processed, and your brain just makes something up to cover it. It's like your brain goes, just Photoshop some pavement in there. No one will notice. So no, you're not seeing reality. You're watching a heavily edited highlights reel with questionable special effects. It's not truth. It's a vibe. You ever argue with someone over what really happened, and both of you are 100% sure you're right? Yeah, at least one of you is wrong. Plot twist, it might be both of you. Because memory isn't a hard drive. It's more like a weird collaborative Google Doc your brain keeps rewriting every time you open it. And it's not even good at it. It'll change little details, add stuff that never happened, or straight up delete entire scenes like a lazy screenwriter. There's even something called the Mandela effect, where huge groups of people remember something that literally never existed. Like the Berenstain Bears. No, it's Berenstain and I hate it too. Scientists have proven that your brain can be tricked into forming completely false memories. Like, you could swear you went to Disneyland in 2003 and saw Bugs Bunny. Sounds great, except Bugs Bunny is not a Disney character. That's a Warner Brothers rabbit, babe. You were gaslit by your own frontal lobe. Basically, your brain is a bad journalist with no fact-checking department. Okay, this sounds like sci-fi, but hear me out. You literally have a second brain. It's in your gut. The enteric nervous system. Yes, that's its real name, has over 100 million neurons. That's more than a cat's brain. You're walking around with a little neurocat chilling in your intestines, making decisions. This gut brain can function independently, controls digestion, and sends more messages to your brain than the other way around. So that gut feeling you get? Yeah, it's not just poetic. That's your second brain screaming. Bad vibes, dude. Turn around. It even makes its own dopamine and serotonin, which means your mood is partially controlled by poop chemicals. Let that sink in. Or don't. That's gross. So if your stomach's acting sketchy during a big decision, maybe listen. It might be smarter than your actual brain, which is busy hallucinating coat racks. Alright, buckle up for some existential whiplash. You know that feeling of being in control? Making choices? Thinking, I decided that? Fake. It's all fake. Researchers have found that your brain makes decisions before you're consciously aware of them. Like seconds before. They literally hooked people up to brain scanners and found that the brain lights up with a choice before the person chooses it. Your conscious mind is just the narrator, not the driver. It's like those people who commentate on live sports but definitely aren't on the field. Oh wow, we've decided to grab a snack. Yeah, the decision was made 2 seconds ago, Deborah. You're just here to make it sound intentional. Even basic movements like raising your arm happen subconsciously before you're aware you want to. So congrats. You're a very eloquent meat puppet. Ever had a limb fall asleep and freaked out because it felt like your leg was being eaten by tiny angry fire ants? Or worse, heard of phantom limb syndrome? That's when someone loses a limb, but their brain still thinks it's there, sometimes with excruciating pain. Yeah, your brain can literally make up pain for a body part that no longer exists. It's like having a smoke alarm go off in a house that burned down 5 years ago. This isn't just a bug. It's a feature. Your brain is wired to anticipate danger and overreact just in case. It's better for your survival if it yells pain. A little too soon than a little too late. But in doing so, it sometimes gets real creative. There's even something called mirror therapy where people use mirrors to trick their brains into thinking the missing limb is still there. And it actually works. Because your brain is less concerned with what's real and more concerned with what looks legit. Like a TSA agent just waving you through because you look normal enough. So yeah, your brain can fake pain. Just make stuff up. No warning. No apology. Picture this. You wake up drenched in sweat because you swore you just got chased by a crocodile on a jet ski, wearing your ex's face. Totally normal dream. Now here's the wild part. In the first few seconds after you wake up, your brain's like, yup, that happened. Totally real. Dream logic is unhinged, but your brain is totally chill with it. You can fly using noodles? Makes sense. You're back in high school but also somehow 40 years old? Sure. Until you wake up and go, wait, that crocodile had a mustache. That's because the parts of your brain responsible for logic and self-awareness, like the prefrontal cortex, go night-night when you do. So dreams aren't filtered through reason. They're raw, uncut chaos from your emotional brain. The limbic system. That's why dreams feel realer than reality sometimes. It's pure emotional cinema with a zero-budget script. But your brain, it believes it until the credits roll. Ever felt your phone vibrate when it definitely didn't? Or heard someone say your name in a silent room? Congrats. That's your brain trying to entertain itself. Phantom vibrations are a thing. Like an actual thing that happens to 9 out of 10 people. Your brain gets so used to patterns like checking your phone every 6 minutes, that when there's silence it's like, did the phone buzz? No. Well, it should have. This also explains why people in extreme isolation, think solo sailors, deep cave explorers, or unfortunate reality show contestants, start hallucinating. The brain just gets bored and starts generating its own content. And it's not always fun. Sometimes it's unsettling noises. Sometimes it's full-blown shadow people. Sometimes it's your ex texting, hey. Okay, that one's real. Run. Basically, if your brain gets bored, it turns into a rogue AI testing features no one asked for. So here's a cruel fact. You forget most of your life. Like almost all of it. You have roughly 86 billion neurons, but your brain acts like a hoarder with OCD, keeping weird stuff and tossing out everything else. You'll remember your 3rd grade teacher's weird elbow mole. But forget the lunch you had yesterday. Because your brain isn't designed to remember everything. It's designed to filter out most things to avoid overload. This is called transience, and no, that's not the name of an indie band, it's the process of memory fading over time. The irony? You literally remember that it fades, but not what faded. It's like trying to download a file you deleted on purpose, then blaming the computer. Your brain deletes stuff it deems not emotionally important. Like that email you read 4 seconds ago or your entire chemistry midterm. But it'll keep the time you saw a clown holding a microwave at midnight. Because that? Apparently crucial. So yeah, if you've ever walked into a room and forgotten why, it's not age. It's just your brain doing spring cleaning in July. Let's talk about that creepy feeling when something moves slightly in your peripheral vision, and your entire nervous system screams, we're gonna die. That's not drama. That's evolution. Your brain is still running on caveman software. Back in the day, if something rustled in the bushes, it was usually a predator, not a plastic bag doing the cha-cha in the wind. So your brain learned, movement equals threat equals run like hell. Fast forward 10,000 years and now that same threat system is going off because a leaf moved or a cat jumped onto your keyboard during a Zoom call. Even worse, your amygdala, the little almond-shaped fear gremlin in your brain, is always watching. It doesn't care about context. It doesn't ask questions. It sees motion, hits the panic button, and leaves you to clean up the adrenaline mess. So next time your heart jumps because a coat on a chair looked vaguely human, blame evolution. Your brain isn't cautious. It's just paranoid with a flair for drama. You ever argue with someone who's clearly wrong, but still won't back down? Yeah, that's not just ego. That's a brain feature called cognitive closure. The desperate need to lock down an answer, even if it's total BS. Your brain hates ambiguity. It would rather pick a wrong answer and stick to it like super glue than admit, maybe I don't know. Which is why you'll Google symptoms, read mild headache, and go, okay, cool. I'm definitely dying of brain worms. And once your brain decides, it gets stubborn. It'll cherry-pick evidence, twist logic, and build a little shrine to your bad decision. Just so it feels certain. This is why conspiracy theories thrive, why people double down on bad relationships, and why you're still convinced you can eyeball the right amount of pasta. You can't. You've never once gotten it right. In short, your brain loves certainty more than it loves truth. Because truth is messy, but certainty, like a warm, comforting lie blanket,